we're lost. Really lost.
Tis dangerous out there in space. Trust no one.
I'll get you home. We'll make a partnership.
You're a Jedi.
A ragtag group of 4 misfits come together for a galactic adventure to discuss the latest TV series from the Star Wars universe, The Skeleton Crew. So alongside myself and Martin for our review episode 1 and 2 this week, we have Mr. Scott Whitehouse and Mr. Keith Guppy. Welcome, gentlemen. You all right?
Good, thanks.
Hi,
Yeah,
guys.
All good?
Yeah,
All good?
brilliant. Thanks for having us on.
definitely.
No problem.
Thank you.
No, thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us. So let's kick things off then. Obviously, we won't give our episode ratings straight away because we haven't seen any of the series so far, apart from these bits. I will say first up that it wouldn't be a very good review show if it didn't contain a few spoilers. So this is your spoiler warning. Please don't at us. Episode 1 then, it was called This Could Be a Real Adventure. And for me, that's kind of how I feel about the series so far. So what about yourself, Scott? Bit of an adventure?
Yeah.
Enjoying it?
Yeah. I thought it was good fun. I thought it was packed with 80s nostalgia, which is obviously what they're pitching for.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Yeah, thought it was good.
Yeah. And what about yourself, Keith?
I agree with Scott. Yeah, I thought it was real good
First
fun.
impressions.
I thought, yeah, lots of throwback stuff, which I guess we'll get into shortly. But I really enjoyed it, and I know I enjoy it when at the end of the episode, especially the second one, which is slightly shorter, you go, oh,
Yeah.
So you've enjoyed it when you do that, and the wife did the
Yeah.
same. So
Yeah, definitely. Martin?
Yeah, so I really enjoyed it. I thought it was superb. I mean, the first episode particularly, I was hooked immediately. I think this is something that reminded me of my childhood so much. It not only had a lot of Star Wars in it. It had a lot of stuff that wasn't really Star Warsy, but the stuff that was Star Wars was excellent. But it also did exactly what they said it was going to do in my eyes. Be a real 1980s adventure film with the kids, going on some sort of adventure. I really, really enjoyed it. And it's a bit of, like Keith said, I'm absolutely devastated. I've got to wait a week for the next episode.
Yes, yeah. Well, they're going for the Goonies style, aren't they? And they've been quite open about that. And so far, off to a great start. It had a good cold open with it as well, which had a very strong Star Wars feel to it at the beginning. Do you think? And then,
that opening scene was basically a near shot remake of the Tantive 4
absolutely
the boarding party. It was absolutely all the way up to the captain holding the whoever that was on the on the ship up by the neck. Some of the lines were very similar that Vader says. So yeah, it was absolutely a great cold open.
Yeah, and plenty of fan service, lots of recognizable aliens in there as well.
Lots and lots and lots. I mean, just back to that opening scene when they're shooting, and you've got the Republic troopers, whatever they are, and they shoot, and they hear the sound of the ship, and they look up. And that's a New Hope all over, isn't it? It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And aliens, I was counting them. I was just watching them.
Yeah.
And then I said to you guys earlier, I was before we came on live now, I was literally just running around getting figures from my room, going, oh yeah, that one, and there was at least half a dozen you could pick out. But yeah, it was great. Really enjoyed it. And I thought there was a bit of clumsiness to the kids, which is real Goody style. I love the speeders. I mean, I was watching the speeders that they were running on, they're going on, like the little bikes they had. And how much better was that than the ones we saw in the was it Book of Boba Fett? I think it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just
so much better. But it is reminiscent of those the kids riding their bikes in the Goonies or in E.T. Things like that. It just really took you back, didn't it?
Yeah. It was great.
It was great. So, what did you guys make of the suburbs world? Because there was a lot of talk about that beforehand. So, Atin, it's something a bit different, isn't it? Something completely new.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but there was like the barrier. There was all those red dots, wasn't there, in the sky, and you think it's like a bit of a utopia that you get the feeling later on. And spoilers, but you've already announced that, Adams. That's fine. But
Yeah.
you know, the pirates are saying you don't come from that place. That doesn't even exist. So obviously that pirate ship's gone looking for that utopia world with all the Republic credits, because obviously, you know, those Republic credits are worth a hell of a lot more than one credit in that pirate world we went to later on. So obviously that's been it's a bit of a mythical place for the pirates. So whether they'll visit that again, I don't know. But whether it's I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But there's lots more to be revealed about that planet, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. Scott, what about you? What did you think?
Yeah, I thought they set up quite a good mystery with that, really, because they didn't reveal an awful lot, especially in the first episode, about why they were there and what exactly this barrier was. It certainly didn't stop them going into space. So obviously, it's perhaps hiding them. So you think, how long have they been there? If they're old Republic credits, and that's quite intriguing, really, what they've set up with.
Yeah, absolutely, Martyn.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that Scott and Keith said. I mean, I did sort of. Sometimes I saw something, I was like, oh, that doesn't feel very Star Warsy, if I'm being honest. But I think the fact that this planet Atatin, did you say, Adam?
Atatin,
it looks like it's a secret planet and no one else in the galaxy knows about it. It's a myth, and by the end of the second episode, I kind of got the impression that Jude Law's character, I think he's going to be kind of a Long John Silver in a Treasure Island type film where and the kids represent Jim Hawkins perhaps, and that he's going to sort of use them to try and find the treasure that's supposed to be on this planet. That's kind of the impression I got. So the fact that this planet is not known throughout the galaxy in a way kind of gives it an excuse not to have any of the technology that we've seen in Star Wars before. It's been left to sort of to its own devices, if you like. I would even say a lot of the technology used on that planet was very Disney-esque. You know, it had the sort of things that Walt Disney envisioned for the Epcot Center when he was designing that in Florida. So yeah, I mean, so once I kind of made that connection by the end of the second episode, I was absolutely fine with most of it. To be honest with you, Adam, I thought it was fine. I thought it was great.
Yeah,
I mean, we saw the lawnmower droid, didn't we? That was pretty cool. And then I thought that I don't know about you guys, but I thought the droid in the classroom was a bit like the Smash advert back in the 80s. Did you not think in terms of the boost as well?
Yeah. Inspiration, perhaps. So, we meet the group of kids. Now, I've always had a little bit of I don't know. I'm not a massive lover of child actors. I don't tend to think many of them do a very good job. What did you make of our little ragtag bunch? Should we go with Keith?
Pretty cool. I liked I quite like the way Fern tapped her hand on when she was outside the classroom and was just like, you know, I'm in control here. And I thought it was great. I thought they interacted well. You know, it's a bit like the Goonies crew. You've got a couple ones that think they're intelligent. They've got comedians, but they'll turn out to be the heroes of the piece. And I thought they've got the right mixture of the characters. You've got a technician in there. Yeah.
Classic group dynamics, isn't it?
Yeah. You've got KB. That's right. Yeah, absolutely. You've got KB is a technician of piece, can always get you out of a bit of a tight spot. And I thought it was a great group. Yeah.
Do you agree, Scott?
Yeah, I thought exactly the same. I mean, they are all archetypes. You know, you'd find them in the Goonies, you'd find them in Stranger Things, etc. You know, they're what we expect. You know, the rebellious girl and the dreamer, the slightly sort of nerdy, shy guy. You know, the elephant kid, and then you got the techie one. You know, and it was perfect. And you can tell they've all got a journey of discovery to go on in there. I thought it was perfect, really.
I mean, this is kind of high praise from the off, really, isn't it? Considering what we've been dealt in, let's just say in recent times, what we've been dealt. It's, you know, we're off to a very good start, and like it would be interesting to see how they keep it up, really. Martyn?
Yeah, I mean, I thought all of them were excellent. There wasn't really any bad acting at all from all four of them. But I have to say, the character which I've fallen in love with, which was the one I would have probably said I would never like when I saw the trailers, was Neil. I think he's absolutely incredible. I was laughing. Honestly, when I was watching this, I felt like I was a kid in the 80s watching this. And Neil, for me, was the one in the group that, obviously, he's the comic relief, but the facial expressions and just the eyes that he gives the other characters when they're doing stuff, if you go back and watch it again, it's incredible what they've done with that character. And as I say, some of the lines he had were absolutely hilarious. So yeah, for me, he's my Basil, as Adam Berry's Basil of the season so far. Neil, for me, is the best character in it. I really, really like it. If there was one character that I thought was awful, and Steph picked up on it as well when we were watching it, was in episode 1, the two girls were going to have a sort of a race on the speeders, and this other kid pulls up beside them and challenges them to the race.
What was the insult word? What was the insult word they used? I was going to write it down. It was
I can't remember.
It was something else, wasn't it? It was something.
Yeah. But he was terrible. I mean, he was really bad. I got some Acolyte vibes from him, but apart from that, keeping it positive, I think the four main kids were absolutely brilliant.
I will say, regarding that kid that you're talking about, did anyone else get Adam Driver vibes out of him?
Yeah,
like a young Adam Driver.
Yeah.
Are they setting this up?
100%. He looked just like. Yeah, he really did.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Adam.
Okay. So moving on then, episode 2 was called Way Out Past the Barrier. Now, the kids have found the spaceship, and the starship, if you like, and they've activated it, made their way past the barrier, as the episode title suggests, and the ship's droid then comes alive, SM-33. What did you all make of that character? Do you find it interesting that there's a droid with a kind of pirate accent, is what I'm getting at, I guess?
I thought it was quite funny that he quickly thought that that his new captain was Wellard, and he was like, he was just gonna do what that was very comical, So I wrote that down. I thought, yes, SM-33, isn't he? Yeah, I felt that
played by Nick Frost.
Oh right, okay, yeah. Do you know what? I let that slide a little bit, Adam. I thought, yeah, you're right. It's a bit, but I still enjoyed it, and yeah.
I did enjoy the bit where he was teaching them how to fly. So,
very quickly.
He said it's basically this. It's quite simple. Yeah. But then he takes them off to the pirate port, then, where we get to meet quite a few different characters. Interesting scene, and quite an impressive scene in terms of cinematics, I'd say. Scott, what did you make of all of that?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty spectacular, wasn't it, when they arrived there? I thought that was really good. I mean, the whole thing stylistically's got a sort of a Pirates of the Caribbean meets Star Wars sort of feel about it, hasn't it? There's an awful lot of, very traditional, old-fashioned pirate impersonations going on throughout. But it's not. I'm not bothered by it. It's quite fun. I thought it was quite fun. But I thought it was really interesting. Some of the characters. Did anyone? I mean, we'll go on to it, I suppose. But that funny little ferryman is a
brilliant
character from one of the Ewoks films, isn't he?
Yeah, Reek, wasn't it? It's a Reek.
Which was very strange. Yeah, he was pretty cool, and that was fun to see. Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. If I could just quickly go back to SM-33, Adam, and then I'll answer the question. SM-33 is obviously stands for Smee, and Smee is the first mate of Captain Hook in Peter Pan.
Course, yeah.
So
good
again,
I
don't. I'm married to a Disney fan. I mean, I don't mind it, but it's kind of it's that sort of real world stuff, sort of getting involved in Star Wars, which I don't have a problem with. But again, it was slightly obvious to people that noticed that. But going back to the question to Scott, I would say of all of the, including the Mandalorian, all of the Disney Plus shows we've had so far, this one looks like it's had the most money spent on it, the highest production values, and we're only 2 episodes in. And I'd say it's probably got one of the best scores as well so far from any of the Disney Plus shows. It was every single shot, regardless of where we were or what we were doing, was a feast for the eyes, and that's nice because we haven't had that for a while, I don't think, in Star Wars. So it felt very cinematic, and I think that's something we said before it started. We thought the trailers looked really cinematic, and it certainly hasn't, let us down from that point of view, I don't think.
No, absolutely. Keith, anything to add?
Yeah, I love what Scott said about the Pirates of the Caribbean. It's like their home sort of base. When that shot went past and you saw all the pirate ships and you saw the one from the start of the film, obviously, that was pretty cool. And the gun turret just trailing the ship as it came in was pretty cool. And they've all got the sort of the black and white striped livery on them. But yeah, it was pretty damn cool. I really like that. Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
And then so, yeah, I mean, yeah, go on.
Cool.
Sorry.
Well, I was just going to mention all of the aliens, the mix of aliens and creatures once again, which I was going to sort of lead you in with, because you've got, well, you were saying beforehand that you've got a few to show off from your collection.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, do you want to? I could do that later on. I could do that now, but there was quite a few there. There was one I was really chuffed to spot. So I'll do it now. Did you see him, Martyn?
Go on.
Oh, Constable Zuvio. Yeah, I spotted him. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you would. Yeah, just as they were going in the brig.
Right.
I believe it was him. I think it was him. I paused it about 10 times, and but that was great because he was in the trailers, wasn't he? But he was never actually in the film. Yeah. So I think they felt a bit guilty and let him have about 2 seconds of screen time.
I think he turned up in The Mandalorian at one point as well in one of the bar scenes.
Yeah. There was a couple of us, but I'll leave that to later on. But yeah, so I was shouting at the screen. I was like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "Oh my god, I know that is." And it's like,
what's a Constable Zuvio?
I said a few other words before, but yeah, I got there in the end.
Now, Martyn, you did touch on the score. The music is so reminiscent, isn't it, of Goonies? It's got that like floaty style to it as well. It's very well done. Did anyone pick up on who did the score for this?
It was Michael Giacchino who did Rogue One and Spider-Man, and everybody knows Michael Giacchino. He's done so much stuff, and he did. I think he did a perfect mix of like Goonies type 80s music, but there was some Star Wars: A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back beats in there as well. Actual usage of the music from John Williams. So he really did a fantastic job, just like he did with Rogue One. So really good. Yeah.
Back to the episode 2 then. Was there any particular scenes that you'd pick out, Scott, that sort of stood out to you in this?
I'm
putting you on the spot.
Yeah, I thought the fight with the pirates was pretty cool. When the SM-33 droid comes in and he's punching them and they're flying all over the place. I thought that was pretty spectacular. We weren't expecting him to turn up as well. He'd been left on the ship, so that was pretty good.
I'd agree. That was probably my pick for it.
Yeah, you just get to see the different pirates, what they're doing, or their kind of their fight moves, sort of thing. Which was pretty good.
Yeah,
and then the captain comes in and knocks him down. I mean, he was a fantastic, to bring back the Wolfman from A New Hope, from the Cantina, and to put him in that sort of role was brilliant, isn't it? To expand the character.
Yeah. Do we know the species of that character?
It's a Shistavanen. Shistavanen.
That's
that'll be a quiz question next year.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Sure will, yeah. But all in all, then the show. Sorry, Scott. What was that?
I'll just say that'll make a brilliant TVC figure if we get him. The Black Series.
Yeah. I always look at. I don't know about you guys, but I always look at the little creatures in the background. I thought the little fluffy flying cats are pretty cool, but my favourite was the little rat that came out of SM-33's eye, which my wife didn't appreciate. But I certainly did, and I thought that was cool. And I think that little creature might be a bit of a star going forward. We'll see.
The little pink creature that we saw that flew off after it got out of the cage. That again, another little Easter egg. That was a little creature that George Lucas designed for the ride Captain EO, which used to be at Epcot. Which starred Michael Jackson, and it was a 3D ride that you did there. And that little pink creature was created by George and put in that ride. So it's great to see that they've taken that creature and then he's actually now in canon Star Wars, which is that's the sort of stuff I love.
Nice.
Respect for George, respect for the things of the past. It's it's the Reek, wasn't it, as well?
I think it's
that.
Peak.
Oh, sorry. Yes, you're 100% right. Yeah, you're right. I would have failed that on the quiz. Didn't spell it right. But yeah, so little things like that for me, they're the things I they're just little bonuses. I know they're not really anything to do with the story, but I always look out for those sort of things.
It's interesting because I didn't know that, Martin. But when they focus on a creature a little bit for an extended period, you think there's something behind that, don't you? And that's really interesting, actually.
Yeah, but I mean, I've already said it once, but it's kind of loaded with these creatures. And do you think that is just for fan service, or I don't know? Do you think they're just trying to give them all a bit of screen time? And, well, I suppose that is fan service in itself, isn't it?
It is, but it's a bit of both, isn't it? Because that character, the Teak, who flew them in and then goes scurrying off, he's quite an amusing little character anyway. So there's something a bit. If you've never seen that, I mean, I don't know. I've not seen the Battle for Endor, so I don't know what he does in that. But no, most people probably haven't seen that. So it's just for a lot of people, it's just going to be a bit of a fun character. So. But it's also a bit of fan service. So those that do know, I mean, I'll probably go off and watch the Battle for Endor now at some point over Christmas, just to see him in that. So
yeah. I think we've all been screaming, haven't we? I mean, I know when we were watching the last show, we were saying, "Where's the Aqualish? Where's the Astromechs?" Although, to be fair, still didn't see an Astromech in the first 2 episodes of this show. No. Where's the Trandoshan, yada yada yada, and we didn't really get any aliens that we recognize. And this show, I don't know whether they listen to us, but I mean, I've got a list here, of the aliens I saw in the first 10 minutes: Trandoshan, a Gran, a Snaggletooth, an Aqualish, a Zabrak, an Ithorian with a frog dog, which is really niche. Clatonian, Shastivanan, if that's how you pronounce it, a Nikto, a Quarren, a Jawa in the second episode, a Thelan, a Rhodian, and of course Constable Zuvio, which Keith mentioned. So I mean, you don't get that unless it's a movie normally. So it was just a feast for the eyes of a fan.
I mean, the thing you have to do is kit bash him and just put a patch over one of his eyes, chop his eye off, and put a patch over.
Yeah, that was brilliant, wasn't it? The way that one of his 3 eyes was missing, and also there was an Ishi Tib that got shot in the eye.
Shot in his eye.
Came out of the tunnel.
Yes,
and I mean and then you saw him later in episode 2 having it sort of a patch put over it by a medical person. It was brilliant. And then there was the 8D8 droid who was a tattoo artist. So I'm killing Keith here. I'm killing him.
No, it's fine, mate. I've got him ready.
But yeah, I mean, we're not even talking about the story, really. We're talking about background stuff. But
there's so much going on. You could look at that spaceport. You could pause it so many times and just spend a bit of time looking around at what is going on in the background, can't you? There's so much that's
I think as well,
a
Adam,
Star Wars fan.
Absolutely. I think as well, Adam, the first 2 episodes, there wasn't a huge amount of story, let's be honest.
Not a great
it was more
deal
of a setup, wasn't it?
Essentially.
So there's not too much for us to talk about in terms of, do you think this is going to happen, or what did you think of that? Because it was just right. This is this is going to set up the whole season, especially episode 1. One thing I was going to ask you,
showing off the characters, isn't it? That's all it is at the moment. It's storytelling of the characters. Yeah, go on. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say one question I was going to ask everybody is, do you think that Jude Law's character is a Jedi?
No, I think he's a bit of a con man. I don't think he's a Jedi. I think that key trick. I think first thing I thought was, you've been in there for a few days, probably. You've waited till some kids come in to show off. And I just thought it was a little bit. Yeah, I think he's a con man. I don't think he's a Jedi.
Yeah,
Scott?
I agree. Yeah, I don't think he's a Jedi. I think he might be a Force user, but
Yeah,
I'm not sure how
yeah,
he's done
quite possibly.
that.
Adam?
But it all seems like a plan because he could have taken the key any time then, couldn't he?
Absolutely.
Yes, yeah. No, I mean, difficult to say because this could be the sort of twist. I mean, I feel like he might be like that now, but moving on down, he'll probably form quite a bond with the kids and will want what's in their best interest, I expect. Are we going to assume that he is Captain Silvo, the original captain from the cold open? Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
So
Yeah.
so maybe
Yeah.
he has been in the brig a little bit longer than a few days. That's what I'm
Yeah.
unsure of. We don't really know the time between
Well, it
the
can't be very long.
cold
if that
open
issue
and
getting
episode
his-
2.
It can't be very long, can it? If that issue Tim's getting his eye sorted out, that can only be
True.
a short time
True.
later. They've gone and docked raiding that ship, haven't they? And
I think he'll pose as a Jedi, and they'll somehow bring a real Jedi into it towards the end, and he'll get unmasked. I think that's what's going to happen. But sorry, you're probably on to predictions in a minute, Adam. So sorry.
Well, yeah, that's.
jumping
I
ahead.
mean, all I was going to say is the story, even though not a great, it's all about setting up the series. It's moving at a pretty good pace as is, isn't it? And we're all enjoying it so far. So far, so good. So yeah, should we jump in with some predictions then, Keith?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys probably seen the trailers, and we've seen X-wings flying around a planet or a space station. So I can't wait for that. I mean, that just looks great. I mean, they can obviously escape out of there, aren't they? And they're going to go on their journey. I think, like I said, I think we will see a Jedi at some point. Not Jude Law's character. I think there'll be other Jedis and they'll get unmasked. I think.
Do you think it'll be a Jedi we know, or
I don't really care. Let me say, if it's a Jedi, we know from the universe, great. If it's a Jedi we know from another series like Ahsoka or something like that, then great. But I don't really care. I don't mind really. I think it'll probably be a low level Jedi. I think, but hopefully someone we know, and that'll be a pretty wow moment as well. Yeah. So I think that's kind of where we're going to go. But I'm just looking forward to the characters, especially the kids growing. And back to I think Martyn said about Nell.
Neil,
Yeah, it was great because you had the family. I love the family. Love the little family.
Yeah.
The little kids, and that was brilliant touch. I love that, and I
bit
think
where he was in the bath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. It's great. It was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, Scott, have you got any predictions for the series
I
moving
think
forward?
Keith's onto something. I think basically, he's gonna convince them he can get them home, and they're going to get chased by the pirates who know about the gold, so they think they're going to be able to follow them and get to the gold. I'm not sure about a Jedi appearing, and somehow he's going to be revealed to not be what he's telling them he is. I don't know. I think I expect he's going to come around and sort of defend them in the end. I'm wondering if he's still working with the pirates, and it's sort of a big con, potentially.
So to lead them back to Atati.
To lead them there potentially
to the mythical land.
I think he's going to change his mind and sort of fall for the kids, isn't he? Basically, and he's going to become a genuine protector of them. And they're just going to have a bunch of adventures on the way. I'm not sure how much more the story is going to evolve into something complex and galaxy affecting. I'm not sure it's going to do that. Although the Atatin story, some sort of revelation there's got to be. What is their connection? And how are they going to try and find their kids? Because from the trailer, you see the mom and the dad talking about we've got to try and find them. So are they going to try and find a way to leave Atatin to look for them, or have they got a way of communicating with the New Republic, or what they think is perhaps the Old Republic? We don't know how long they've been there in seclusion. So there could be something around that they kind of reveal themselves, and I don't know. We'll see where that goes.
Yeah. Martyn?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think okay. I feel when the kids were captured by Captain Brutus, and he heard the young boy say, you know, I want, you know, I thought I was going to find a Jedi temple. I thought it was interesting that he then immediately said, well, you can go and spend some time in the brig, and knowing that the former captain was in there. So I feel he's gone to Jude Law and said, look, if you convince them you're a Jedi, you'll get their trust, and then if you get them to lead us back to Atatin, you know, you can come back into the crew. So Jude Law is going to be initially on the side of the pirates, and just like you've all said, by the end of the show, it will come to the point where they can find out where Atatin is, but he'll betray the pirates somehow and you know, get the kids free. I think that's definite where the series is going. I don't think it's going to be a particularly complex series. I don't think we're going to be getting twists and turns all over the place, which is fine, absolutely fine.
We don't need them, really. We don't need it to be
all.
complex, do we? Just entertaining.
No.
Do you know what though? Doesn't that say a lot about what we've seen already? To say we think we know what's going to happen, but we don't care. That sounds all right to me. Sounds good. You know, makes sense. It's good. You know, with some of the other series, no names mentioned, you know, you just don't have a flipping clue, and you know, and it just didn't go in. But you know, even though we know, or we think we know where it's going, we're all going, yeah, that's right, great, yeah.
That's all we can ask for. Right. Before we jump into Martyn's probably many Easter eggs, I don't know if you've still got lots left. Let's get the season predictions so far. Then, Keith, what are you rating these first 2 episodes?
Right.
Oh,
okay.
sorry,
I'll give you my wife's
yeah.
I'll give my. Is this out of 10?
Go. Yeah, out of 10. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. I'll give my wife's score. She said 7.5. Now that's a high score for my wife. Anyway, but I would give it 8.5 from what I've seen so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scott, what are you scoring this so far?
I was on 8.
Yeah. Martyn?
Yep, 8. I'm going for 8. I mean, I don't think I gave the previous series we talked about. I think I might have given episode 4 an 8, but this is truly worth an 8. I think when you get into 9 and 10 territories, you're talking, you know, top level stuff. And while I'm not saying that this won't get there, I think this is I think Keith's wife is probably right. 7.5 is a fair score, but because I'm really enjoying this and I'm quite pumped for the series, I'm going to give it an 8.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you. I'm going with an 8 as well.
Nice.
You know, if it stays an 8 throughout the series, then happy days.
Happy.
You know,
Absolutely.
If it goes up, even better. I just don't want it going down.
No,
yes. So, should we? Keith, do you have more figures to show off, or are we going on to Martyn's Easter eggs?
Probably only the obvious one. I think Martyn's
characters.
probably gonna. Martyn's got a bit more knowledge on the creatures. I'm sorry, but the only other one we saw a little snag, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
In the start of it, and in terms of figures, running around getting figures, that's about it. But go on, Martyn. What else do you see, mate?
Have you got anything you wanted to add, Scott?
Don't think so. No, I don't think I spotted anything. No.
Right. Okay.
I actually have one before you get in.
Yep.
So when SM33 and when they're talking to SM33 and trying to get him to go back to Atatin, he says about not knowing where that is, but he does mention Aldani, which I believe was in Andor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's my only Easter egg that I picked up. But
Nice one.
Off you go then, Martyn.
Okay, right. So the scene where they're in jail and the key is hanging up and they've all got their arms out the bars, you know, trying to get the key or trying to persuade the little creature to get the key. That's again an absolute cast iron copy of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride in Disney World, where you see the 4 pirates sticking their arms out this prison cell trying to get the dog to give them the key. So as the commander-in-chief of the prequel defense force, I feel I have to mention this one. That's so wizard. Absolutely loved that. So that was a fist bump moment for me. Absolutely loved it. As I've mentioned, obviously the music's very John Williams-esque. Rex drove the bus. I'm going to call it a bus, even though it was a tram, the school bus. The Rex droid that we that we see. I thought, you know, the little mock lightsaber fight they both had in the street for me was again, I was just sort of like, oh, I did this last week, you know, I mean 20 years ago. You know, I absolutely loved that scene, because you know, we all did that, let's be honest, we all did that. That was great. We've mentioned Teak. The Teak was the ferryman. Now Borgo, which was the name of the pirate space station they visited, that's actually out of an EU novel called Shadow Academy, that came out in 1996, if I remember correctly. This one's a really good one. You know, Neil's family, he's got 3 young siblings, and they were all watching a holographic show. Well, that's a holographic interpretation of the same show that they showed in the 1978 holiday special, that Chewbacca's son was watching on Kashyyyk, which, you know, absolutely blew my mind when I saw that they've actually put an element of the holiday special into a show, which absolutely brilliant. I've mentioned all of the characters that are in it. The line that I was talking about at the beginning of this show, where, you know, it was a copy of the Darth Vader lifting up Captain Antilles. He says, you know, if this is a bulk freighter, why is it magnetically sealed? And he said it in the same way that Vader says, you know, what he says, you know, if this is a consular ship, where is the ambassador? I thought, absolutely loved that bit. Another fist pump moment for me. I've mentioned the Ishi-Tib getting shot in the eye. And I don't mean to say this to sound like narky or in any way, but wasn't it nice to not have a jot of cultural or political preaching anywhere in this entire show? It was just left to be a fun Star Wars 80s style TV show, and you know, it was absolutely incredible. And one more thing, if you'll indulge me, I think that if this show carries on the way it does, it's got a very, very good chance that kids of a certain age, in the current generation of a certain age, this could be the beginning of their Star Wars, which could lead them to becoming us in 30 or 40 years. Because if this had come out in the 80s, when I was watching Return of the Jedi and The Empire Strikes Back, I would have been all over this. And I think I'm just fingers crossed that Lucasfilm have brought something out that will now, you know, we'll have this influx of encouragement, and you know, kids will want to see Star Wars again, because I think Star Wars is not dying by any stretch of the imagination, but there's definitely been a lull in terms of the you know, the people watching it and the interest in the franchise. And you know, this could be the gateway to a new generation of Star Wars fans, and more than anything, that makes me really happy, because not only am I getting, you know, a good show and a moderately good Star Wars show, but I'm also hopefully going to see, you know, another generation of Star Wars fans getting into the franchise. So, you know, I just hope that the series continues at this quality, because I really, really enjoyed this. And that's all I've got to say on that.
Awesome. Yeah, well, on that note, I mean, we can't go much further, so let's end it there. Massive thank you to Keith and Scott for coming on and talking about that with us. It's always good to have you guys on. Make sure you go and follow Keith on his channel, Mando Number 5. Scott, follow him on Instagram, Scott Whitehouse. Is there a number with that?
I think there's a 14 at the end.
14, yeah. I couldn't remember what the number was. But yeah. And thank you all for watching that one with us. Let us know in the comments what you thought of this series so far, these first 2 episodes. And yeah, we will catch you in the next one. Thank you.